Our first stop after leaving Rocco Island was to head to the ruins of Somerset Settlement. The site of the ruins is opposite Port Albany in the passage between the mainland of Australia and Albany Island. John Jardine was sent to establish the settlement in 1863 and it took its name from the Duke of Somerset. The settlement was established because a naval and military station was required in the far north of Australia. It quickly became a port of refuge for the crews of 3 shipwreck vessels, as hostile tribes in other parts of the Cape and the surrounding islands of the Torres Straits would kill any survivors they found washed upon their shores. In 1879, the border of Queensland was extended to include the islands of the Torres Straits, and the main northern settlement was officially moved to Thursday Island, as the anchorage at Somerset was subject to strong tidal flows.
We found a site commemorating the last resting place of Edmund Kennedy and his ill-fated trip to open up a route from Rockhampton up here to the top of Cape York.
Jardine continued to inhabit Somerset, marrying a Tahitian princess and establishing a cattle and coconut empire, as documented by Joshua Slocum in his book Sailing Alone Around the World. Not much remains of the old settlement despite its significant part in Australian history, just a few graves, coconut trees, and more recently abandoned caravans.
Nice little bit of meringue there. Let's hook him out.
Oh, careful. Oh, that's yummy. It's probably good medicine for me.
It is very good medicine for you. Okay, so we've come along to this beach here. Salt water right there, but I can see behind me paperbarks, and they're always a good sign that there's surface water not very far away. So if we look down here, there's a little bit of a first dune and then a depression, and that is a really good spot to just try digging a well and just see how you go. Yep, it's fresh. Us Aussies have a real knack for naming stuff. See, its bark is like paper. Right? This is about one of the most useful trees there are. Up in the Northern Hemisphere, you've got birch, I suppose, and they have similar bark. Just one of the uses, just off the top of my head for this, is a great fire starter, because you can just scratch that bark up like that and it will catch a tinder really, really easily. But wrapping food, making shelter, making tea from the leaves if you've got a cold, something like that, there's a lot of uses for this. The traditional people really went to town on paper barks. Even making paper bark rafts. You get enough of this stuff, bundle it together, and you can float it across pretty decent bodies of water on it. So there's our paper barks, and another really good indicator of water on the coast is a nice healthy screw palm or pandanus, which we've got here. Now there's lots of different types of pandanus, but here in Queensland you see one of these growing close to the coast, and again water, and especially if it's that green and vigorous, you know that water's fairly close. Likewise, this pandanus is a really useful plant, but mainly as a fibre plant. If you can see there, the ribs all parallel with each other, they're really, really strong fibres. So the leaves can be harvested. You thresh out all the green pit in between it, and you get hold of these fibres and you can weave them into a pretty decent sort of string pretty quickly. Got all sorts of little plants growing on hosts here, orchids, creepers, succulents, the works. Queensland is abundant.
There's more over there.
A little nest being woven there by a sunbird. It's even got a little rain hatch. This one's disused now.
It's all soft in there, like a little bed.
Well, it was a little bed at one stage.
So cute.
Yeah, beautifully woven nest. Spider web, bark, grass, you name it. So there used to be a resort up here a while ago, but it fell into misfortune. I think Ansett was hanging on to it for a while. Where are they now? It got given back to the local Ingenuity people, but there's nothing much left of it now. Not much to salvage off that old generator. You'd think it'd take a bit of determined effort to knock a couple of generators over like that. Over here's the beds for them, and the units are way over there.
No one decided to live here and look after it.
Yeah, you'd think that someone would squat here, but no.
Scary.
The ruined boardwalk.
This must have been from the resort, eh?
Yeah. This is a good wet jungle in here.
Threw a stone to the river just so I could remember where we're from. Put a light in the candle so that I could see how far we've come.
So Pascale, you're as far north as you can go in continental Australia. How does it feel?
All right.
You put a light in me now.
So these feral passion fruits, or love in the mist, because that little veil around them, when they lose that veil and go yellow, you can open them up and, like any other passion fruit, eat the insides. Banana-y. They're nice. They don't belong here, but you're never going to get rid of them anymore. They are everywhere. You can see, they've still got that.
Passion fruit flower.
Yeah, cruciform flower,
Yeah.
haven't they?
They're pretty good.
And that's where passion fruit gets it from. It's not like you're going to fall in love if you eat them. The early botanists, being good Christians, they saw this crucifix form in there. So it's the passion of the Christ.
Like lollies.
They are just like little bush lollies.
After we returned from Cape York, I jumped on a ferry from Thursday Island to Horn Island, the start of a long trip home to Perth spanning the breadth of the Australian continent. A trip that we spent a year doing on Marul was to take me less than 24 hours by plane. Well, I didn't get on the Perth flight last night because I missed my connection because the Cairns flight was running too late. So Qantas put me up at the Ibis right next to the airport, and it's been really nice. But anyway, I'm just gonna quickly pack up this room and get to the airport so I can get home to Perth, finally. Another nifty trick that I thought I was quite clever to do was to nab a trolley. I don't have to carry any of my bags, which is always a source of back pain and problems for me when I'm travelling. So always grab a trolley if you can. You'll have to excuse the wind noise. This is just a little bit of impromptu filming by me. I haven't put on the microphone. But I thought I'd just let you know one of the reasons why I've come back to Perth. Last night was the wedding of two of my really good friends, Sarah and Sammy. Sammy Smith, who we use a lot of his music on our videos. Thank you, Sam. And it was such a beautiful night. They put on, their parents and everything put on such a beautiful night. Lots of music, dancing, drinking. I actually stopped drinking because, as you can hear, I'm losing my voice. So I think that infection that I got in my ear when we were out at Ashmore, that's either, well, it's given my immune system a few setbacks. So I'm going to have to go home and have a little bit of a rest and relax after this weekend. But yeah, it was a beautiful night. I'm having a lovely time out here. It's paradise in the southwest, and I've missed it. It's good to be home.
I was missing Pascale already, and so I was very happy to hear that my friend Ben was in port aboard the barge Fourcroy. In another coincidence, I had previously served aboard the Fourcroy as her engineer shortly before buying Marul, and I was keen to see how she was getting on. A company called Sea Swift operates several barges in the area, delivering goods and materials to the islands of the Torres Strait and serving as a vital lifeline to the rest of Australia. Coming alongside the barge was a little challenging because our two ships have a vastly different interaction with the tide and wind. But with the rope passed over and a bit of communication, we quickly had it sorted out and I was invited aboard. The skippers who operate these ships have to navigate in all conditions and they have an intimate understanding of the area's tides and other hazards, so I was very keen to swap stories with Ben and get some much needed advice on navigating here. As night fell, we went out to watch the action as some of the local fishermen came to take advantage of the ship's lights to hunt for garfish or ballyhoo. As the current increased, so did the action, though Ben here's watched this every night as he comes to port, so he just sipped his tea and smiled. Our camera struggles a bit with the LED illumination, but you can see that it may not be such a great spot for a midnight swim. In past episodes, we've discussed that sharks don't really rely on their eyesight, hunting rather with smell and electroreception, and you can see that this visibility is fairly poor, that these sharks do a pretty good job of getting hold of these very fast bait fish.
It's my last night in Perth and I'm on my way to the Fremantle Sailing Club to catch up with some fans, some people that have been watching our YouTube video. It's kind of my first time seeing people that have been watching our video in a big group. So it's going to be cool. I've had a really busy 2 weeks working, and then I've had a couple of weekends of weddings, some of my really good friends, and I've been seeing some new additions to my family, new little niece and Troy's new little niece too, and obviously an older nephew and niece as well, so it's been really lovely to see them and to see my parents, of course. I've also been busy working on my little business with my friend Chloe. We sell lenses for mobile phones. They clip on over your phone, so we have like a wide angle, a macro lens and a telephoto lens. So if you wanted to check it out, you can go and have a look at our website. Put a little grab of that and a link at the bottom of the video. But anyway, I've got to get off, otherwise I'm going to be very, very late for this meeting with everyone at the yacht club. I'm looking forward to meeting some people.